First, let's get the truth. The truth is that sex is absolutely morally wrong. It should never be engaged in. The only virtue is total abstinence. We know this from the people who wrote the script and impinged the persona on the experience of the West. We also know this from the alien mothership. We know that John Fitzgerald Kennedy was unfit to be president of the United States because he had theft. And we know that it's necessary to do something drastic about the foolhardy tendency of people not to realize that sex is utterly morally wrong. Therefore, the contagion that was spread was a necessary evil. Okay, with that out of the way. Another thing that we realize now is that the rabbit has closed its argument on the claim that because the queerbait overcame its reluctance to try a little bit of marijuana, it had the right to eliminate a million grannies. This was necessary to prove the principle of the matter. It was necessary to prove the superiority and moral virtue of those who abstain also aggressively from marijuana. And we know also from the Fern Hollow Bridge administration, who just happened to control the Pittsburgh Public Educational Board of Education system, that when the queerbait required through NEVA pornographic services due to a persona impinged on a neuroplasticized, battered, comatose golem held hostage. These services were greatly resented by the administration authority who was forced under the circumstances to provide them for licky chops observers. This necessary program of therapy was a result of the queerbait's frustration and a sublimated aggression at years and years of having been abused, relentlessly ridiculed, held hostage, lied to by his peers. And it was necessitated by a great moral highness that is far beyond the reach of mere civilians and their so-called Commonwealth legislators. It can only be decoded from de-squelch in its state of Frenchman in Senegalese. Its French majesty has to be de-squelched. It comes over with the feeling of the wailing of the falling of skyscrapers, the wailing of a self-proclaimed Japanese widow with a blank check against the West. And what does this say, this majestical, de-fritched, de-squelched, decoded, higher truth reveal? Well, it reveals you didn't have to tell a white lie. Now, let me break from this for a moment in order to address the Pittsburgh public school system. When you have a young junior high school student who's frightened as my peer Sean, he came into the class late. He was obviously very frightened, and he had to make up a story for why he was late. When you have a situation like that, the appropriate course of action is to sit him down and say, we understand you're frightened. We understand you didn't mean to lie to us, but we need your help to protect you and find out what's going on. And in his heart of hearts now, he's going to say, wait a minute. These are the murderers who just killed a million grannies who made genocide pornography. They're probably behind what happened to me out in the hall. I better not tell them anything. So he says, well, there's nothing wrong. And the odds are, in a way, he would be right because the people he's talking to don't see anything wrong with what they just did.